and I don't want to take away from the people who know for sure that non-binary is the term that best describes them. But my best friend and producer of this podcast, known here very creatively as producer, says I shouldn't worry too much about labels. But I feel like I should address my identity, genderly speaking, since that's a key aspect of this podcast and my mission to get into the Gaybutante society. Say hi, producer! Hi, folks. Producer over here, he, him, and if anybody sends an email to the show with questions or advice for Riley, I'll be the one relaying the info. Thanks, P. So, to recap, the two things I know for sure are that I'm outwardly and inwardly femme, and that I'm gay. Which, apparently, is the problem. At least according to The Jock. Quick side note before we begin. Names have been changed to protect the identity of those involved and to protect the future earnings of yours truly because I don't want to get sued on some bogus defamation charge, even though everything I'm saying here is 100% true, and if the truth happens to make anyone look like an asshole, that's on them, sweetie. Okay, now that we have that covered, let me tell you why I, Riley Weaver, need a date to the Gaybutante Ball. Chapter 1. 5 days earlier. Nothing makes my leg jiggle harder than gay impatience. It shakes up and down with anxious anticipation as I scan the quad for any Gaybutante faces. We're 2 weeks into the year and they haven't made a move. When are they going to announce the season? I feel my silver hair bounce back and forth as my head bobs from side to side. How they're going to do it is what I'm most concerned about, Sabrina says, her head staying perfectly still so she looks way less like a chaotic gay chicken than I do. But her eyes swing left and right, and she's got that slight flush she always gets whenever she's excited. Her white cheeks look mildly sunburned, and her smattering of freckles stands out. There's definitely not going to be explosions this time, Nick says. Miss Haspen burst a blood vessel in her eye from screaming so hard after last year's rainbow confetti cannons. Nick doesn't take his eyes off his phone, most likely watching some behind-the-scenes footage of one of his favorite movies. It's just his bright blue afro and a sliver of his dark brown forehead visible over the top of his phone. Nick may be a part of the queer alphabet soup, but he's not down for the intense attention Gaybutantes get. He's the only out queer junior who's decided not to throw his hat in the ring, and he really hams up the disinterest. But despite his outward indifference, I know he's just as invested in how the Gaybutante Society will announce the season. What's that? Sabrina throws her arm in front of me like she's my dad driving his truck and slamming on the brakes. My turkey sandwich lands with a wet slap on the damp cement under my bench, but it's fine. I can't eat, not knowing we're this close to the big reveal. Sabrina's eager eyes fall. Never mind. It was just a seagull. You two are going to burst a blood vessel if you don't chill, Nick says, nonchalantly skipping an ad on whatever it is he's watching. Oh, come on. Just because you don't want in doesn't mean you're not curious too, I say, playfully tapping Nick with the toe of my booty. Your production-obsessed heart can't help but appreciate all the time and effort it takes to coordinate these things. I nudge his phone down, and a small smile pushes up his round cheeks. Okay, fine. You're right. But I'm not going to waste my breath talking about what's going to happen until it actually happens. He finally puts his phone on the table and grabs one of my hands, the sparkling silver polish on my nails going really well with the glistening navy blue on his. Nick holds out his other hand, and Sabrina places her polish-free fingers in it. Deep breaths, Nick says. As one, we inhale for 4 beats, exhale for 5. It was this trick I read about on the internet when I had jitters before my second stint as the morning announcements announcer in 7th grade. It wasn't that I was nervous. I was too excited. I had so much adrenaline the first day that I recited the school news way too fast. I sounded like I'd had 1,000 energy drinks or something. So I needed to figure out how to slow myself down, and this helped. The trick has stuck ever since. And Nick is usually the one to start it nowadays, since Sabrina and I get carried away with our excitement pretty damn quickly. Thanks, Nick, I say through my exhale. You're the most important wheel of this tricycle, keeping us grounded.